Alright, so today's video is all about auto crafting. Off camera and off stream, actually, I still haven't streamed Minecraft since a few days ago, I believe. But I mean, Minecraft Monday is right around the corner, so there will be a good stream, hopefully, on Minecraft then, and we'll get some good progress. Now, you may notice that this wall here is looking slightly different from previous videos. We've added a terminal in this bottom left corner, and we've actually changed this top one. Our basement is also looking slightly different too. If we run down here, as you can see, we've added a few multi-blocks here, and yeah, let me tell you all about them. But before we get into Applied Energistics, I just want to show you guys these two new blocks here. This level is getting a bit of a mess, I won't lie to you guys. It's a bit unorganized, and yeah, it's not exactly how I want it. I still haven't done the bloody walls. It's been a week, and I still haven't touched them up. That will come, I promise. But yeah, so these machines here are really cool. I really like them. I don't know why. They do exactly the same thing these do. They're just infinite storage, but they're called black hole units, so they're more interesting, right? That's how that works. But they're really nice because you can add them to something called a black hole controller. Which basically, you put multiple black hole units inside one of these, and then it's a single block which has multiple black hole units within. I believe each controller can store 9. I mean, these are quite expensive. I need to get into Industrial 4 going a little more. I need to get a mob farm in order to get one of these going. But they're really nice, and I look forward to getting a controller in the future and expanding. We're currently storing dirt and cobblestone, and this is because I'm running my quarry pretty much all the time now. I made a few upgrades here. I didn't actually need it. I added another 4K, but this 4K we added, I believe, like 2 days ago. Still hasn't been used, so we were actually better for storage than I realised. But the quarry needs to be moved again. It's ran its course twice now, actually. So we need to move that and get the resources flowing once again. Okay, so it's probably best if we start with this bad boy right here. So this is a multi-block, and it's called basically a crafting CPU is what I like to call it, or crafting computer, or something like this. And it's made up of multiple different blocks. So down here we have a 1K crafting storage. Here we have a crafting co-processing unit, and here we have a crafting monitor. Now this is just a basic crafting unit. It's basically I don't know, placeholder really. Because these crafting CPUs, they need to be square, I believe, right? So you can't do this. As you can see, the multi-block broke. It just has its basic block textures, and the cable disconnected. But if I put this back, the multi-block forms, and the cable connects. This is a valid CPU. You can also have like a 1x1, a 2x1, and you know, 2x2, and you can also build it out. It can have a depth to it as well. So these things can be huge. This is a very basic crafting CPU. To start with, I'm only going to be doing basic recipes, so it doesn't need to be too overpowered. So this 1K crafting storage will be fine, and one processing unit will do. Now for a little more detail, if you're wondering what all this means, I probably actually should have taught the system some recipes and crafted them to show you it in work, and I'll do that in a second actually. So this crafting 1K storage, it basically means how many items can it keep track of when it's doing a crafting recipe, essentially when it's carrying out a task. So this CPU here will be able to keep track of 1,000 items being crafted. Now that sounds like a lot, but down the line, trust me, you're gonna want to expand these because recipes get complex, and when you're like chaining multiple different recipes together, for example, say you want to request, I don't know, a diamond gear, right? So if you want to request one of these like straight away, you know, this is already 5 items, right? You need to keep track of. But you also need to make the golden gear, which is 5 more items, or you know, 4 if you do this one. And then, but if we follow this chain down, you then need to make the iron gear, and then the stone gear, and then the wooden gear, and then you may need to make sticks, and then you may need to make planks, right? I don't know how we ended up on this wood, but you get the idea, right? So you need to keep track of a lot of items, and you know, a lot of recipes may be carried out for one request, right? You might request quite a complex item, but all the basic items may need to be made in order to make that recipe or make that item. And that's where these two come in. So the storage can be upgraded just as well as the normal storage can be. So if I just type in crafting real quick, you can have the 1K crafting, the 4, the 16, and the 64K crafting storage. You can also have multiple of these in the multi-block, make this CPU huge and have multiple of them, and you know, keep track of those items. Now the co-processing unit is basically the brain. It's how smart or how fast this the CPU is, right? The more of these, the better. It's just, you know, it crafts the recipes faster, really. And then we come over here. So this is a Emmy Interface. And if you know Applied Energistics, this basically interfaces with its connecting blocks. You know, if you put this on a furnace, you can interface with the furnace and, you know, have crafting recipes with that, for example. As it stores something called patterns. Now, patterns keep a crafting recipe inside them. And whatever recipes or patterns this interface has is what this interface can craft using its surrounding blocks, right? So, for example, within a pattern, you put cobble into smoothstone, and you put this interface on a furnace. That interface with that furnace can make smoothstone, and that can be an automatic crafting recipe. And you know, you'll use the CPU to request that, right? Or I would show you this one in action. This is just more theory, I guess. But you need something to actually craft it. You know, if you want to craft something yourself, you need a crafting table, right? And molecular assemblers are a very fancy word for crafting table, right? Well, it's Applied Energistics way of doing things. So as you can see here, it has a pattern slot here, which will teach this recipe. You can upgrade this, and then you can also, you know, you put the items in here, you get the output here, and then this is its progress. It doesn't do it instantly. This is kind of like a balancing thing. And then you put acceleration cards here to make this faster. Okay, so back up top, we have these 3 terminals, right? So this is the crafting terminal that we've had for a few days now, but I've also added 2 new ones down here. We've got the pattern terminal and we've got the interface terminal. So the pattern terminal will allow us to encode these patterns that I mentioned in the basement. And you know, for example, we could use this to make oak planks, right? As you can see, we put oak wood here, and it knows that if we carry out this recipe, it will make oak wood planks, right? And we can encode that by pressing this button. As you can see, it's a pattern, but if you hold shift, it will show you what it makes. It's very nice. And then in here we have the interface terminal. This will show you all of the interfaces you have in the network. So right now we only have one interface terminal, which is connected to, well, it's connected to 2 molecular assemblers. Here it gives you like a little title of what it's connected to, so it might say furnace or pulverizer. You get the idea. And then if we want this pattern to be able to be, you know, craftable, we can put it in here. And what that will do is the interface, as you can see, can have 9 patterns, right? That interface will then assign this pattern to one of the molecular assemblers. So if we just take a quick run downstairs and we go into this interface, you can see that that pattern is now here. So that, you know, when you put a request in or when it's time to craft this pattern, the interface will use the molecular assemblers around it to make this recipe. So for example, if we go ahead in here, and we can actually set this to only show craftable items, and as you can see, we can now craft this. And let's say we put in, I don't know, a request to make 200 oak planks, right? We go next. And you can see that we can select a Crafton CPU. And this is the steps of that recipe, right? So we will need 50 oak wood, which we have available, in order to craft 200 oak planks. Now, if this recipe is more complex and it needed to use other recipes, it would show you here the core ingredients it would need. It would then show you the, you know, intermediate steps that it would need to craft, and then it will show you the final craft as well. And as you can see, you can have multiple CPUs within a network, and then you can either set it to automatic, or you can choose which one you want to use. Now, this is a little more advanced, but if you have automatic crafts being done by the system, you know, like crafting recipes you're not doing yourself, this is possible, by the way. So, for example, say you want to supply a block constantly with, I don't know, 64 wooden planks, which gets used up due to, I don't know, a farm or something, you know. Or it gets burnt, right, for charcoal, or something like this. That will use this crafting recipe to then refill that block with oak planks. And it's key to remember, when this is carried out, it will automatically choose the CPU. In my experience, this is always the closest CPU to that block. So it's important to think about where you're placing your CPUs along the line when you're doing this, because you don't want to take up your most powerful CPU in order to do this. You know, it costs computation time at that point, and you yourself might not be wanting to wait for, I don't know, some furnace to receive wood to make charcoal when you want to craft something more complex, right? So how I normally separate this out is if I can actually show you if I run downstairs. So I actually haven't spoken about this, but I have an Emmy Controller here, and what this does is it allows you to have more channels or more devices, right? So each device uses a channel. So an interface uses a singular channel, a CPU uses a channel, and you know, an export bus and an import bus use a channel each. So we currently have 4 channels being used in the basement, and I believe each side of this block, you know, top, down, left, front, right, and back, will all give you 32 channels. As long as you use the 32 channel cable. I'm currently using the 8 channel. You can get like thicker cables, right? And basically these are connected to, I believe, this side. So the cable runs down and then across, and then these two the 2 multi blocks are connected to the back, right? So that's 2 devices or 2 channels used on the back, and then 2 channels on the front. Now if you wanted to make sure that the closest CPU was, you know, your weakest one, because I know there's a cable running along here, I would make my weakest CPU here, right, and then connect it up, and then have a more advanced CPU back here, because the closer one will get used first by said automatic crafting recipes, and then this one, you know, should remain free for my use. And my apologies, that got very, very advanced and very hypothetical, but I will show you certain things in the future. Right now I have nothing, you know, demanding automatic crafting. Hopefully I will soon, and then I can be able to show you that. But let me show you the system in use, because right now it doesn't look so interesting. So if we go here, and let's go ahead and request those 200 oak planks, and if we run down, hopefully it doesn't get carried out too quickly. But we can see here, oh, it is being very quick. We can see on the crafting monitor it's showing what it's currently crafting, the, you know, which request it was doing, and how many, like, you know, its progress, how many it had left to do. Sadly, I was too slow to also show you the molecular assemblers in action, so let's go do it again. I mean, we're going to need these planks anyway, so we may as well. I'm just going to do 500 this time, just to give us some more time to show you guys. So once again, we can see the crafting monitor on the CPU has the recipe, and then if we look here, it's using both molecular assemblers to carry out that recipe. Now, if you had more recipes in here and multiple were being used at a time, it would use 1 molecular assembler per recipe. But as we only have 1 recipe currently being crafted and we have 2 assemblers, it's using both assemblers for that 1 recipe. Okay, so let's make this more interesting. We've now taught the system how to make sticks using 2 oak wood planks. Now, I've also taken the wood and the sticks out of the system, so that the only option the system has is to craft the planks first and then make the sticks, right? Now, I don't really need this many sticks, but I'm going to do it just, I don't know, because I'm kind of curious and interested and want to show this off, right? And here we have a more advanced show of the system, right? So it has 50 oak wood logs available to then make 200 planks out of that, and it will need these 200 planks to make the 400 sticks, right? It might help if you work backwards, right? In order to make 400 sticks, you need, you know, to carry out this recipe 100 times, which will use 2 oak planks each time. So that's 200 oak wood planks. And in order to make 200 oak wood planks, you need 50 logs, right? Hope you follow with that. And as you can see, this now is getting more interesting, right? And this will use 840 bytes. Remember, we only have 1024. So this is quite a basic recipe. Granted, we're requesting a lot of them for no real reason, but you can see how you will need to upgrade your storage for more complex recipes, right? But anyway, let's start this and let's go run down and see how the system handles this. So as you can see, it's got the recipe here, and what it's currently doing is it's crafting all of the oak wood planks it needs first. And now, I mean, it's looking like it's going very quick. But so it used both mechanical assemblers to make the planks first, and then once it had all of the planks it needed, it then went on to make all of the sticks it needs. So it kind of does it in phases, right? Gets the intermediate first, and then gets the next step, and then the next step, and so on, rather than kind of dedicating half of the machines you have to do one step, and then, you know, half of them get started on the next step. It does it step by step, if that makes sense. And that will draw this video to a close, sadly. That's pretty much all I got to show today. If anyone needs sticks, let me know. We have plenty of sticks and oakwood planks now. But I hope you found that demonstration useful. It was very technical today. There was quite a bit of advanced, or kind of advanced theory behind Applied Energistics. And some of it was very hypothetical and kind of hard to picture just because I don't have the infrastructure for it yet. But I will show it off, I promise. But I hope you enjoyed this more kind of technical side of things. I think I'm going to take more of a walkthrough approach to these videos. So kind of show you what I've done, and then talk to you a little bit about why I've done it, and then, you know, the kind of theory behind it. I think that might make these more interesting, rather than just showing you what I've done, right? So like kind of showing you, yeah, the logic behind it and kind of the thinking. Hopefully that is interesting to you guys. Anyway, if it's not, let me know, and then, you know, we can just do catch-ups and move along. Why is my dog outside? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, I shall see you guys tomorrow. Take care, much love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye, guys.
Are we gonna play now? Ready for the show? I'm about to take down, you already know. Get the fuck out of my face now, yeah, you gotta go. Man, I'm on the chase now, leave me on my own. I got a chance to break now.